Welcome to Inside City Hall. I'm your host, Mayor Daryl Seymore, and our first guest today are Carrie Bilby, the Public Works Operations Administrative Assistant, and Jacob Wilcox, Community Development Specialist. Welcome, Carrie.
Welcome.
Glad to have you, Jacob. Great for being here.
Thank you.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about code enforcement, the things that we do in the community to keep people in compliance with some of the codes that we have, as well as our clean sweep that we go through. And we appreciate what each of you do in your role with the community here and also your position with the city. Jacob, let's talk a little bit about what are some of the violations that happen quite often that's in violation of city code. And a lot of times it's knowledge. People don't have the knowledge, but let's talk about some of those main violations that they get into.
Some of the main violations we see are debris and outdoor storage in the yard that are visible from the street or adjacent properties, inoperable vehicles, basically a vehicle that looks like it can't drive, you know, with deflated tires or broken out windows or the hood's up with no engine. Those we consider inoperable vehicles, and those need to be screened properly or removed from the yard. Illegal signage, see a lot of that. And fire hazards, we see a lot of fire hazards.
Okay.
And those need to be deemed a fire hazard by the fire marshal in order for us to pursue it as a violation.
So if I'm a citizen and maybe my neighbor has an unsightly yard and it keeps piling up, what would I do I notify the city? Is there a form I fill out? What is my steps I would need to go through? There's
a couple options. You can give us a call at the Planning and Zoning Department. It'll probably be directed to me, and then I will note it down and I will go and visit it. I will inspect it to see, you know, what type of violation it is. And if it is a violation, if it meets any terms that it's a violation, I'll try and contact the homeowner, or if it's a tenant, I'll contact them and kind of give them a verbal warning and give them a certain amount of time to clean it up. If it's not cleaned up, then we'll issue an informal warning, or I'll send out a letter to the property owner, and which gives them another certain amount of time to comply. And if by that time if they're not in compliance, we'll send out a formal notice, in the certified mail. And if they're not complied in that amount of time, then we'll cite it into court. So we try to give the citizens enough time to comply. Most violations never go to court. We abate the violation before it ever goes to court. So we don't want to take it to court. We want it to help them clean it up before it gets that far. So.
And so it does two things. It keeps people cleaning up, and then it protects me as a neighbor or another citizen that my property values and the safety of my community my home is also part of it. Because I know with the fire season coming up, I think yesterday we did our first measure of fire restriction. And so part of it is also, I think, weed abatement, some of the things there that gets a little bit unsightly. Is that another violation?
Yes, it is. Yes. We get several violations about weeds out of control. And then on those ones, I usually contact the fire department or the fire marshal. And if he deems it a fire hazard, then at that point we will pursue it as a violation. And I foresee a lot of those going on this summer. So any pine needles gathered up around structures or weeds that are getting out of control, the citizens should create a defensive space around their home to protect it from any potential fires.
Okay. Carrie, let's interject a little bit here because of the weeds, the debris, some of those things happen in some of our cleanup here. How does that coordinate where your program can come and help some of these homeowners?
This year we have quite a coordination effort. We have actually taken Project Clean Sweep and we've put it into 2 different weeks now. The week of May 26th, which runs through Memorial Day weekend, we're actually doing nothing but a green waste pickup. You can take your items out to Dirty Deeds off Highway 260 behind Perkins Cinders, or our streets crew will come by and pick up your green waste and haul it to Dirty Deeds for recycling during that week. So it'll help Jacob's efforts out quite a bit, getting areas fire-wise, helping neighbors clean their properties of fire debris. Quite a bit.
Now, Dirty Deeds, let's talk a little bit where that exactly is located here when we say behind Perkins Cinders, but what direction are we going here as we leave town?
Dirty Deeds is actually located about 2 miles past SR 77 Pinrod Road, and as you go out, you're going to take a turn onto First Knoll. You'll take a right onto First Knoll. You'll go up a dirt road a little bit. You'll see Perkins Cinders. Turn right again, and you'll just kind of follow that road all the way back down there, and you'll see Dirty Deeds on the left-hand side, and you'll probably see the pile of pine needles before you realize you're there. But
so we head out like we're going to St. John's. We go past the airport, and then it will be that First Knoll up in that area there.
Right.
And is there a cost for taking stuff out there?
As long as you show your proof of residency, which is a City of Show Low utility bill showing that you pay for garbage service within the city, then during that week you can dump for free as many times as you need to, Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
And as much as you need to. We do ask that the green waste that you bring out is clean. They don't want bags, dirt, rocks. He does do quite a recycling program out there with it, so he needs it to be as clean as possible.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now let's go back to signage a little bit. A lot of people have yard sales. They decide that they can just go out and put a sign up, and I'm going to have a yard sale. What are some of the issues we have with yard sale signs?
The signage does need to meet the requirements of the code. And we ask that you do not block the sidewalks with your signage. Allow for a path for the pedestrians to follow. Also, that if you put it out, we ask that you pick it up as well. A lot of people will forget to pick up their signs, and which requires us to go out there and dispose of those signs. And along with the signs, to pick up any rocks or any weights that you use to hold down those signs. You'll see a lot of on the corners here in the city of Show Low, a lot of buildup of rocks and block and things like that people are using. So,
yeah, because that could becomes a hazard. Somebody trip over a youngster or an elderly person, or just anybody can trip over those things. And I know it's a real common that they will put their weight, because we do have wind here, and then they'll grab their box, but they'll forget to leave behind those other things that they need to remove.
Exactly.
That's a great point. What do we have as far as some of the businesses, code enforcement with signage that we have in the community? Is that an issue for code enforcement?
Yeah, the city of Show Low, the sign code requires that your signage stays on your property. We don't allow for signage on other people's property, off-site signage. It needs to stay on your site. It can't be in a right-of-way. We see that a lot. We see A-frame signs in the right-of-way, banner signs in the right-of-way. They need to be on your property. Banner signs should be in conjunction with a sign permit to be permitted on your property. We see a lot of feather signs. Those are the ones that stick up and wave in the wind. Those are allowed on your property for 45 days in a year's time. You can have those up there, and we have been keeping track of those ones that are up. So.
Okay. And it's one of those things I think is an education process. A lot of people go out and they buy a sign because they want to, advertise. They want to attract things to their business, and sometimes they're not aware that there really is a code and there is restrictions to some of those things. And anytime before you do put a sign up, you should contact the city and find out what the size of the sign is. What are those things that you're permittable to do, and make sure that. I know one of the things that we're currently working on a little bit, just some information, we're working on our sign code as far as some of the digital signs and some of the things there. I know that's before planning and zoning right now, so we hope to have some changes to the code that we currently have that will make some difference to some of those signs as well. So I know that with your job that you have, we get reports of how many new claims come in as a city council, and I know that it runs that you have approximately around 90 violations as a rule that you're trying to get them removed, and we appreciate what you do there. Another thing that happens here is sheds. A lot of people go out and they want to buy a shed and they want to put a shed up, and those sheds can be any different size. What is the code enforcement that we have pertaining to sheds?
Well, the limit that what requires a permit is anything over 144 square feet, which is a 12 by 12 shed, requires a permit. And at that point, they would need to come into the building department and apply for a permit with appropriate plans to be reviewed and to issue a permit. And a shed that size would require to be on a permanent foundation and would need to meet all setbacks, including 20 feet from all street side property lines. We see a lot of sheds that do not meet setbacks, and sheds that do not require a permit under that 144 square feet, we also issue what's called a complimentary shed permit, which is free of charge. And it's just you need to come in with a kind of a rough drawn sketch of your property and where that shed is located in relation to your home and the property lines, with the property lines drawn up on there. So we know that that's out of setbacks. We've had to talk to several people when we see it or we receive a complaint about sheds being put on the property line, too close to the property line, or sheds that don't meet the appropriate size, whether it's a site-built shed or one of the pre-manufactured type.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times the idea is if they are that size, larger than 144 square feet, the setbacks, because they're not easily moved, where
Right.
something that's smaller, a lot of times if a utility company comes in or something has to move it, it can be moved readily, quite easily.
Exactly.
Not maybe necessary. Some of the things people put in sheds, very easy, but it can happen there. Great. Carrie, let's talk a little bit more about green waste, talk about other things we have, bulky pickup. I know one of the things that's changed this is the cash for trash. Talk a little bit about what's happened with that program.
Our participation in that has gone down significantly, which is a good sign. It means that things are staying cleaner throughout the year. So rather than doing the cash for trash portion, we've decided to extend the program an additional week. We've broken it up a little bit, trying to help segregate some items and make things just a little easier for the residents. Like we said, the week of May 26th through Saturday, May 31st is going to be our green waste pickup. You can take it out to Dirty Deeds, or you can leave it at your home and our roads crew will pick it up and haul it to Dirty Deeds for you. Green waste for Dirty Deeds is going to be open Monday through Saturday from 8 to 4 p.m. So you'll be able to come out all day as many times as you need to for that time period. The second part of our program is going to start Monday, June 2nd, and it's going to run through Friday, June 6th. That is our bulky item pickup. That's where items like refrigerators, couches, furniture, you can put out on your curb, and our streets crew will again come and pick that up. They're going to do it on your normal trash day, so you'll want to make sure you have it out by 7 a.m. during that week. In addition to the bulky item pickup, the same week, Monday, June 2nd through Saturday, June 7th, you can also haul your items out to the Lone Pine Transfer Station and dump for free from 8 to 3:30 Monday through that Friday. And then on Saturday, the Waste Management has agreed to stay open a little longer for us, and it's going to be open from 8 till 2. So we do ask that no hazardous materials, automobile batteries, tires, whether they have rims or not, be taken to the transfer station. They do not have a way of disposing of them. So if you have those items, the bulky item pickup will take the automobile batteries and the tires. We will not take paints or other type of hazardous chemicals, though.
Okay. So it's a very busy week, that first week of June. It's one of the things
Correct.
that citizens can start doing their cleanup, have everything for winter. And I think it's one of the great things that when we work with the contract with Waste Management, it's one of the things that we put in that contract that through this week that we're able for the citizens to take those things either to their curb or down to the transfer
Correct.
station. And it's one of the neat things that the transfer station's open a little longer during that time.
Yes.
And it saves the citizens quite a bit of money, because you start dumping a couple of loads, I know it can run into the hundreds of dollars
Yes, it
sometimes
can.
to eliminate some of the waste. How about abandoned vehicles? If somebody has a broken down car they want to get rid of,
As
what is our
Jacob
program there?
Said, there are quite a few abandoned vehicles within the city, and I think it's more of an education thing. People don't quite know what to do with them. So we have a program as part of the Project Clean Sweep. You can go to the DMV or you can go to City Hall and pick up an abandoned vehicle form. You complete that form, attach your title if you have one, take it back to City Hall. We're asking that to be done before 4 o'clock on June 4th. We will get in touch with a towing company who will make contact with you, and they will come and remove that abandoned vehicle for you for free. The only thing to really note on this is if you don't have a vehicle title, residents should be aware that the DMV will assess a charge to the registered owner of the vehicle. So if you are the registered owner, you can't find your title, it's very easy to go down to DMV and get a duplicate title to avoid that fee. So, but it's a great way to get rid of those. We don't do RVs, travel trailers. It's true cars, pickup trucks, automobiles. So,
How about a motorhome?
Probably not a
No,
motor
there-
home.
okay.
No, they're more looking at the abandoned motor vehicle
Motor
versus
vehicle,
the
yeah.
recreational vehicle.
Okay, great. And so I think that's great. And when is that time frame for that?
That time frame, they can actually start submitting their forms now, and they have until Wednesday, June 4th to get their forms in to get put on the schedule for those pickups. So
What has normally been an average year of how much vehicles we take off the people's
when we
homes, you know?
first started this program, we were seeing between 7 and 10 vehicles a year. Now we might get one vehicle a year. So for those residents that have them that just don't know what to do with them, this is a great way to get rid of them for the year. And we like to think that hopefully we just don't have that many, but
Right.
I think residents just aren't aware of what's out there for them to be able to take advantage of.
Yeah, because that can be quite costly if you try to do it totally
Yes.
on your own and things that we
Yes.
have there.
Yes.
So as far as working together, how code enforcement, I think as we kind of wrap this up here, when we do have debris and things that are out of compliance, this is a great week to put it together. We hope we're letting people know ahead of time. I know it's gone out with some of our mailers that we put out, talking about this week, talking about this schedule, and so you don't always have the time, but if people will just start cleaning up their yards, realizing that the fire season that's upon us is very serious, if they can clean up some of those things, it will make a difference for the entire neighborhood, and it will help our city be a little bit cleaner and nicer. And sometimes people wonder why we have so many codes or so many rules or so many regulations. You know, I'm one that don't like that many regulations, but I think I'm happy that we have some of the things that make sense. And a lot of these things we've talked about today are things that help a neighbor in case his other neighbor next to him is a little unsightly. And so we appreciate what you do and appreciate all the efforts that you make to make this a cleaner city that we look into here. Thanks for joining us on Inside City Hall today. Jacob, I appreciate you being here. Carrie, thanks so much. And if you have questions that aren't answered or would like an answer to a question, give us a call at City Hall here, 532-4061, and we'll answer them on the show. Thanks for watching and have a great day.